Why is this lagging so much? Can anyone hear me? Feels like it's frozen. Sorry, it's my first time doing this. Look at settings. I don't get why. Can everyone hear me okay? Feels very laggy. Why can't I get this to work? All right, so going to just review some charts here. So the reason why I have been bearish so far is because there's actually a bearish divergence between QQQ and SPY. And I know this is pretty messy. But let me just show you the divergences so far. So what you can see here is that in July, QQQ made new all-time highs, right? Then we retraced, came up, and we worked our way back up to this level. We could see here on August 22nd, we failed to make a new all-time high. And then here, September 26th, we failed to make a new all-time high. Same thing for October 14th and 15th. And then most recently, October 22nd. Now, if we take those same dates and we look at SPY, what we could see is in July, we originally made all-time highs, retraced, came back up, tested those all-time highs, retraced again. Didn't sweep the all-time highs, so that was kind of an indication that we would probably go higher. Retraced. Now let's even see what the retracement looked like. Retrace, bounced off of the premium range, like didn't dip below the 0.5, which is also bullish. And we continued to make all-time highs, right? Remember in September, and then now most recently, October 15th, October 17th. So SPY continues to make all-time highs while QQQ has not. And also, if you look, SPY also made an all-time high from October 15th to October 17th. If we look at the same time frame for Qs, October 15th, October 17th, it again failed to make new highs even here. So there's a bigger bearish divergence from July to here, and then on top of it, there's an SMT divergence from here to here. So right off the bat there, I was bearish. And it felt like we needed to grab more liquidity before pushing up. And obviously the election's right around the corner, so who knows what the future holds. There's a lot of uncertainty, but um, what I did like was that yesterday when we came down, we bounced off of this order block and this demand zone here, and that looked great, right? If you timed the bottom yesterday, you could have made some nice money. However, what I don't like is that we bounced on relatively low volume. Today was a low volume day. And also, what I would have liked to see, so we took out this sell side level here. And this is actually, I was in puts, and this is, I saw these levels, and they're actually, yeah. I saw these levels getting taken out, and I ended up scaling out of my puts because I figured it was risky knowing that we could bounce at those areas, but we kept cutting through. Then we eventually swept this area and bounced, and we bounced at this demand zone here. Again, looks bullish technically, but what I would have liked to see is I would have liked to see accumulation happen, and that didn't really happen. So what I would have liked to see was maybe a bounce here, retest this area, do some accumulating, and then pushing up. Since we didn't do that, and since instead we just bounce and kind of like, if you would say, like a dead cat bounce, and even if you draw fibs from this local high here down to here, what you'll see is today, at end of the day, we actually rejected the golden pocket. So we're in that discount range. We're past the 0.5. And what I think today was just a retracement back to the discount range to maybe go short again. And so obviously with this market, you never know. Bulls are pretty relentless. But and we have data tomorrow, but if I had to guess, I like the short side, and actually I ended up swinging QQQ puts for next Friday. But I think we either retest this area, but what I would actually like to see is for us to grab some of this liquidity here, and there's actually a daily imbalance here that I would like to see get retested. Doesn't have to. And again, like we actually bounced off of this Fibonacci extension golden pocket, but I just think we need to get a little bit lower. So if we lose this level, what I would be watching for next is this 479 level, and then possibly taking out this sell side level at 477.46 before bouncing. Now, if you keep going down, what you're going to see is we get into some fair value gaps. And I like to use fair value gaps as number one as like targets, but then also as entry levels. So what would be really cool to see if we saw a lot of weakness in the market, and again, who knows what happens with the election coming up in a few weeks, but I would like to see us test this fair value gap as an inverse fair value gap, and that would be pretty bullish from there. So let's see, like from where we are today, that would be around a 4.5% retracement, which, okay, which definitely is possible. So let's see. Let's take it day by day. But overall, I don't have much of a reason yet to be bullish just based off of the recent price action. I am favoring the short side short term and kind of want to just see what happens there. And also, you have to think of like what I would imagine happens maybe here is that over this whole year, bulls have been conditioned to buy the dip. And I think that's kind of what we saw here. And I think that they might get screwed a little bit. I think they're too early. I think there's more we can see. And also on the hourly, you can see there's a gap here. So there's a lot of imbalances below that feel like they need to be explored. And finally, let's draw some fib retracements just to kind of see if we get confluence to these levels. So yeah, we bounce off the golden pocket here. Get rid of extensions, just a lot. Uh, from what I've noticed, the fibs tend to like the 707. So let's see how we react there. And we can, the reason why I like it from here, well, can even draw. Sorry, I just like to play around with the fibs to see what makes the most sense. So bounce pretty much off of the 236 here. 382 would bring us down to the 478. Yeah, like I wouldn't mind. Oh, look at this. These fair value gaps end up being the golden pocket. So would be interesting if we make it down there, and that would make a great buying opportunity, I believe. So want to kind of see how it reacts there before going long. I'm not long yet. There are a few tickers I have some long positions that I'm building, but I think that we could still see some more weakness. So, a few others that I'm just monitoring. Obviously, small caps, IWM. So IWM, what ended up happening with IWM is that we so first off, I do believe my personal opinion is that IWM has been in this macro accumulation uh, since we created this buy side level up here in November of 2021. If you're unfamiliar, you can Google Wyckoff accumulation, and you can actually, let me see. I have the chart somewhere on my computer. Let me just so you can see a visual. So here's there's two accumulation schematics and there's two distribution schematics. So this is the one that I've been um, following along. So, if you follow along here, you can see um, we had selling climax, selling test, selling test. Then we had the spring with volume coming, which pushed us up into LPS, and then what I believe we are now in over here is SOS. And so we had this buy side level here that was swept that caused us to retrace a little bit. We're chopping around here, and then I think maybe post election, what we'll see is we'll see the final phase of this accumulation schematic play out, which will hopefully allow us to take out this buy side level. And I have other reasons to believe, I have other tools that I rely on to give me price targets, but we could also tap, this area here, this 276 plus area if we really get going. But let's see how we react if we get up to this buy side level, which is previous all-time highs. Um, so being bullish on IWM long term has allowed me to build positions in some of these others, like AFRM. So AFRM, I was watching this retracement. Looks like a clear buy model to me. We rounded out here. We had this volume kick in that pushed us to these local highs here. We created this buy side liquidity and had a low volume sell off on the weekly. And if you think about it, like who will benefit from rate cuts if we continue with these rate cuts? A firm certainly will. So we had this low volume. I waited for confirmation. We created this fair value gap. I was hoping we would come down and test this fair value gap as an entry. Instead, I actually jumped the gun a little bit. But it ended up being like a 2000% play for me. I also have commons. I'm out of my calls right now, but looking to see if a re-entry presents itself. And so if we drew some fibs, just some levels to keep an eye on. If we make it to this discount range below the 0.5, that will allow us to fill this. I believe it's a daily or daily gap. Yep. So I would like to see that. We could also, there's an imbalance here. So yeah, looking to see if it gives us a re-entry, but I do think long term, even though it technically reached my target, I would have liked to see us take out this buy side level and at least test this order block, this gray box here. So I do think that there's more room above. And then we could start taking out some of these other buy side levels maybe in the future too. But this one's still high on the watch list. I don't think it's done. Trying to think through what else I'm watching, and what else the Discord is watching. Celsius. Celsius as well. What I like is that volume is starting to pick up. It looks like it might have found a bottom here. And that was in this demand zone here. So I do like upside. I haven't jumped in yet. I've been patient with this one, but what I'm looking for is it reached actually my target today to go long. So I'm going to look tomorrow to see if there's a long opportunity. But I would like to see us start taking out on the daily. There's the buy side level here, and there's an imbalance. And then also there's relative equal highs up here that I think should get tested, which is also the golden pocket retracement from all-time highs to the recent lows that I do believe will get tested as well at some point. So overall, like whether this is if you buy stock like the commons, or if you give yourself some time with calls. Again, I don't give financial advice, but this is one that I'm watching for long opportunity. And you could see during this retracement that volume has been declining, which is overall bullish to me. Another one that I constantly have on the watch list is ASTS. I mentioned this on Twitter quite a lot. Blows my mind that people don't talk about this one, because if you look from April of this year, right, a few months ago, to the recent all-time highs, it's up 1,800%. Why is no one talking about this? I don't get it, but or maybe people are and I'm just not noticing. But yeah, we had a nice healthy retracement and looks like we rounded out. You can see volume really picked up here. We have a low volume retracement, and then we tried pushing up above this buy side level, ended up creating relative equal highs. I'm looking for us to keep pushing. again, relative equal highs usually act like a magnet. So I think we'll take out that level soon, but we might need to retrace a little bit. And obviously, the market, I think market weakness will continue a little bit. So let's see how we react to maybe this $24 range before maybe going long again. So something high on the watch list for sure for me. And to kind of give you an example of why, when I say like relative equal highs or relative equal lows act like magnets, I'll give you an example. I was calling this out on Twitter a lot, or X, sorry. But what you can see here is that Apple created these relative equal highs. I probably don't, probably, yeah. And so we came up, I believe this was like the Japan news came up, created this buy side here, retrace, tested it again, retrace, tested it again, retrace. And when we were down here, I said, I have fairly high confidence that this is going to act like a magnet and we're going to sweep this area. And that's what we did. And we swept, we distributed it a little bit, and now we're retracing. And by the way, Apple is very high on my watch list as far as being in opposite of accumulation, what I believe is in a macro distribution schematic. And so I believe either all-time highs are in or they will be in soon, and then Apple over the next couple of years will retrace. And so this is the distribution schematic I believe we're in. If you want to compare notes, I'm happy to compare notes, but just kind of give you an idea of where I think we're going to be heading over time. So if you think about it, Apple hasn't really innovated in a very long time, so it makes sense to retrace. Maybe the last one, I have to get going, but the last one that I want to call out is, oh, sorry, I'm on the wrong chart layout. But Netflix, right? So if you watched my watch list video from a few weeks ago in September, I mentioned how um, Netflix, as it like it created in 2021, it created this buy side all time highs, and then we had relatively healthy movement up. When I say that, I mean like as we pushed up, we created these fair value gaps and we retested them, and we constantly did that, which is like proper price discovery. We kept pushing up, but as we did this, it generated all this sell side liquidity, which I think is interesting. Again, here, we created a fair value gap, tested it, push. The interesting thing to me was that we tested this buy side here. And I said in that video, then we came back and we retested again. And in that video, I said, what I would have expected to see if we were done was for it to have a high volume rejection, take out the liquidity above here, right? Because like sellers, they sold here, they would have stops up here. I would have expected a high volume retracement, and that didn't happen. So I said I'm still bullish, and 768 would be my target because that's a fib extension level. If we continue to see bullish upside, this would be next. But we're starting to see a retracement here. And again, like this sell side volume or sell side liquidity will act like fuel once it gets going. But I'm starting to get some vibes here that it's going to come down, and we obviously have this earnings gap as well. So if the overall market sees weakness and continues to see weakness, this is high on my watch list to go short on and just to see how it reacts to these levels. I would like to see us at least retrace back to this golden pocket extension and see how we react there. Oops, sorry, I don't know what's happening here. But yeah, I think, This one's high on the watch list for short sides. Let's see what happens tomorrow. But yeah, I hope, my goal is to do this more often. I hope that this was helpful, and looking forward to hearing some feedback as far as what you would like to see. I can go through many, many tickers. I have a lot on my watch list. Um, yeah, and just kind of see what happens there. I have quite a few commons of some of these that I believe are in accumulation. If you are interested in joining the Discord, I am running an October promotion for 40% off for the VIP subscription, which gives you access to everything, including one on one mentorship based on whatever schedule works best for you. The 40% off is lifetime, and the code is RISE. Let me know if you're interested. We're happy to work with you directly. My goal is to make sure that everyone who joins receives the most value as possible. You get the top service. I don't think I've participated in so many Discords over the years, and I never really found a place that felt like home. And my goal is to create that type of community where you're really supported, because this is a really tough journey. And whether you're looking to learn how to day trade, maybe you're just you're tired of blowing your port on options, or maybe you're just looking to learn how to trade futures. We also trade futures. Or maybe you just want to make better choices for your longer term investments, and you just want to know, like, does it make sense to buy certain stocks? Does it make sense? Maybe you've been holding them for a while and you don't know when to sell. I have channels that are based on accumulation and distribution. Which stocks do I believe are accumulating, and which stocks do I believe are distributing? And that maybe will help you make better decisions for yourself and your family. So yeah, would love to do this more often. Would love to get a following going, and spend some more time together. So hopefully this was helpful. And yeah, let's make some money together. Thanks, guys.